Hallelujah. Christ is risen. Christ is risen indeed. Hallelujah. Okay, hi everyone. This is day 1345. No sign of life. And we are celebrating Easter, our risen Lord. And, it's always difficult to celebrate the holidays without Richard. So, bear with us. But this is a powerful evening, a powerful, very inspirational. I don't live stream on Good Friday, so that just gives you more time to reflect. Gives us more time to reflect. It's the only day of the year that we don't live stream, and so a lot of news happens every day as breaking news, and the sad fact is because the murderers are still on the loose, the murderers are still out there, and those that aid the murderers are still out there, and the saboteurs that aid the murderers are out there, and these are connected with the Walmart mass shooting. So it's not just the murder of Richard that's going on here. It's those that participated in the murder of 23 others and the injury of 22 others on August 3rd, 2019, the Walmart mass shooting. So the murderers are on the loose, and we have breaking news every day. But some of that breaking news we are not at liberty to say because the murderers are out there. The saboteurs are out there. We are, unfortunately, they are connected with the law enforcement agencies. And so, we have to be very careful when we're putting forth our breaking news, because we're trying to get justice for Richard, justice for Glendon Oakley Jr., justice for the 23 that were murdered on August 3rd, which is Dallas Hart's birthday, 2019, which was an attempt, and a very good attempt. I think they succeeded on that one. Not totally, but, that bond got passed. But they wanted to put the fear into the people. And, what better way to do it is than to have a mass shooting and kill a bunch of people and injure people, right? And then, of course, collect a lot of donations. And, so there's there's a lot of breaking news, here, and we're trying to expose the unbelievable evil. It's past. I mean, it is criminal. It's absolutely criminal, but it is like very evil criminal. Okay, and to do that to El Paso, for to stay in control, and also they have a beef. The saboteurs, the murderers, have a beef against President Trump. So if President Trump ever hears this, he should be happy, because you don't want to have the murderers be your friends, right? And absolutely, they absolutely have a beef with him. And one of those clearly was Ernest Christopher Grant. Ernest Christopher Grant became the media sweetheart for the narrative of racist, the narrative of Patrick Crucius, the narrative of the white supremacy, the narrative, along with Donna Sifford, along with I would say with the help of with the media, it seems like it, Chris Cuomo and of course um, Beto O'Rourke, of course law enforcement. That's very telling who, you can tell who the saboteurs are and who is trying to rally for the murderers and the saboteurs, those that covered up, those that tampered with the files, because files have been tampered with, files have been deleted. Even pay was given to not search for Richard. Um, you know, it is really breaking news every day. And here we are at Easter. And why do I come on Easter, right? Um, and it is because the power of Easter needs to get out. And you see that they're trying to suppress it. They're trying to manipulate it. And you saw that I have been sent so many notifications from Team Find Richard Halliday. Thank you so much that President Biden did some kind of transgender day today or notification or whatever. Um, I think it's for today or tomorrow. Tomorrow will be whatever. But it's not whatever, it's Easter. It belongs to um, the people of God, the people of Christ. And what they want to do is they want to take it away and give it to a different people. And they can't, so clearly I've been sent all this, and there's been a lot of upset people. They are just really upset. And I don't think it's, my estimation, I don't think it was Biden. I think it was Obama, right? So, because I just don't, it doesn't seem like it to me that Biden even has the mind to do anything to function. And taking care of elderly, I have a little bit of experience with that. And seeing him, it's like, how does he function? Um, it is a huge, huge job. And I know with a fine Richard Halliday doing these live streams, and all of the interactions that we have to do, and the letters and the emails and the investigation and um, the interviews and things like that we're doing behind the scene, um, you know, it takes energy. And so, absolutely, um, Biden does not have that. So it's clearly it has to be someone else. And so, it seems like, after this weekend, clearly Obama came out and Clinton. So anyway, I've been just getting a lot of that today, and people are very, very upset. And we're in a battle. We're in a battle, and the battle is not really, thank God, it's not really guns, like a regular war and battle that you would picture. This is of narratives of law, absolutely of law. They want to manipulate the law. They want to um, give rights where to criminals, um, absolutely above those that are law abiding. That's very, very clear. And in Richard's case, it's very clear. So we, have to expect that they're not just going to, when we say, no, we don't like it, that they are not going to just roll over. They're going to react. And, we just have to gird our loins, be ready with an answer. And so I did put out the chart Christ delivered into the hands of wicked men your hour of power of darkness. Um, I put that chart out because I think it's really, really important when we look at Richard's case, and not all things are what they told us it was. And clearly, the the canine stop, or I should say, the kin canine cop stop in a parking lot. In Okay, let me start over. A kin canine stop, traffic stop in a parking lot at midnight. Um, it wasn't what they told us it was. And it wasn't what they absolutely professionally destroyed Richard over, and then physically destroyed him over, and subsequently murdered him over. Um, you know, and not that that was what they murdered him over, but it sure is motive, because a whistleblower that is not discredited, that has been exonerated, and they have a long record now of retaliation against a whistleblower, is a real threat to their own career, is a real threat to any kind of court case against them. So Major General Clem Coward absolutely needs to be arrested. Very clear. We have a very clear case against him. And I would say David Park, Captain David Park, and Lieutenant Colonel Michael Roddick, and these first sergeants, because in the video Richard is requesting his first sergeant. So just a lot of information coming out from that video that we are, the first time you watch it for us, you can't even watch it. It's very, very emotional, and you have to go on a walk, and you have to, um, you know, uh, uh, just gather yourself, and then you go back and you watch it some more. And then, so it takes several times of watching this, getting other people to watch it that know forensics, that can go through the video very carefully to gather all the evidence. And that's why it's taking a little bit longer for us to give you the entire video, because we're going through it just like this CID report that's so bad, y'all. It's so bad. It's like first grade. It is so bad. I don't I need to get the right words. I need to look up the right words to use to describe Veltry's work, because she was presented to us that she was just this wonderful forensic CID agent. And I want to tell you, she is so subpar. She's so subpar. I don't know how she breathes underneath all the muck. Um, it's it's so bad. I mean, I would shake in my boots every night when I won't go to bed, and said my prayers. I don't know if she says prayers. Um, I would just shake in my boots all the time with the kind of work that she does, um, that impacts the lives of our volunteer sons and daughters. And in Richard's case, it's such poor work. It is so poor work. She needs to get a different job. She absolutely needs to get a different job. Or if she is working with the saboteurs and the murderers to cover up the murder of Richard and the hiding of his remains, then she also needs to be arrested. Absolutely, there's no doubt about it, because either she is just totally incompetent, or she's with the saboteurs and the murderers and the murderers. And did I say the murderers? Then she's with the murderers. Okay. So, it is, you know, really interesting to go through this chart of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the 3 days. And, you know, when we think of 3 days, we think of 72 hours. A lot of us think of 72 hours. But if you've been in other cultures, if you've been to other cultures, you understand that time is not always expressed the same way we express time. We might say 5:30, and they might say 5:30 and mean 4:30. Um, or, there's just, I've been in other cultures and they say, uh, eh, a different way of presenting the time. And so when you're looking at the 3 days of Easter, this is a really good example of what we have also encountered in Richard's case. What we're being told is a manipulation, a diversion, not the whole story, or a different way of saying it. And, we've had to really investigate and look at all the evidence over and over again to put together Richard's case. And so for the 3 days of Easter, it's like that also, because in the culture, if you go to Rehoboam in Second Chronicles, or you go to Esther, or you go to Joseph, the way they use 3 days, come back in 3 days, pray for me for 3 days, I will return to you in 3 days. What they're talking about is like today, tomorrow, and the day after. And the day after is the third day. So today would be the day one, tomorrow, day two, and the day after would be day three. And so we see that, many verses in the Bible, and it's really good to take from that kind of culture to apply it for understanding. And absolutely, we know that the 7-day week has not ever been interrupted. You can follow the 7-day week all the way back to the prime date. And so we know that Friday was the first of the 3 days, but it was the 6th day of the week. And Saturday being the second of the 3 days, being the 7th day of the week. And Sunday being the third of the 3 days, but the first day of the week. And so with that timing, then you can, and understanding, taking it from Esther, these are just three examples, Jeroboam and Joseph, from other passages in the Bible. You can see that the first day was the betrayal, it was the trial, it was the crucifixion, it was the burial. So that first day, which is Good Friday, so many things happened. And then, of course, the rest in the tomb, like what we experience today, it's a day of waiting. And then from now, because we're getting there, from now to the sunrise, you have Jesus bursting from the tomb, so much power that the guards were killed. The guards were killed. There's just no other way to put it. They were smashed to smithereens. And so Jesus is no buttercup, right? God is no buttercup. That was Odo Scott. Odo Scott used to always say that. I love that. I don't know if you've ever read anything about with Odo Scott, but Jesus is God is no buttercup, and he burst forward with so much power out of that tomb that it killed the guards, just smashed them. I guess they were law enforcement, right? They were law enforcement, or they were just guards, but they were with the murderers. They were with the saboteurs. They were aiding and abetting. And, uh, God's judgment is always true. God's judgment is always right. And we are told that he bursts with so much power that they lost their lives. So I think that that is um, an amazing part that, I don't really focus on so much on Easter. I focus on his total the resurrection, right? And the woman coming to the empty tomb with the angel there and saying, what are you looking for? He's not here, right? He's not here. He's risen. He is risen indeed. Hallelujah. So, but I think for Richard's case, the light, the word, which is law, every word that proceedeth from the mouth of God is law word. And him being a light to the world, and bursting forth, destroying death, destroying sin, destroying it, uh, and I'm not saying sin ended. I'm saying the penalty with God now has a redeemer. We have a redeemer, right? So it is it's just something to mention, that you have to study, you have to investigate, you have to interpret, you have to take in consideration the culture of the peoples, the religion of the peoples, and in Richard's case, um, there are those. The big theme is these sex cults, right? These sex cults. And they want to beautify it a little bit, right? They want to beautify it so that they can fool you. And they want to present themselves as noble and honorable, but they're not. They're totally up to no good, and they're absolute criminals, and they are saboteurs and murderers, and amongst other things, thieves and um, just total criminals. So, and perpetual criminals at that. We know that Ernest Christopher Grant is a total criminal. He has a total criminal record, and many other people in this whole thing, and are total criminals. Leilani Hart is absolutely like a professional criminal. She's just total criminal in all of this, and vile and vulgar on top of that. Vile and vulgar. So, and James Hart is a total criminal. Um, and then of course then you have Dallas Hart, who they try to present to us as he's just a fine soldier. Well, why isn't he in that? Why is he out? And we're getting all the intelligence that he wasn't so fine. He wasn't so good. Matter of fact, quite the opposite. And that he's had dental work, and he's had nose job work, because we're getting intelligence that he was injured. And we're looking into it. If Richard is the one that smashed his teeth in, that broke his nose, if that happened, right? If that happened. So, I'll have to put all that in there because, you have to protect yourself with free speech today. But this is exactly the power that the darkness has, is to do all of this criminal work. And for Easter to show us that there is a way that the power of darkness is overcome. And it's overcome by light, and it's overcome by law. And there is no Department of Justice without timestamps, right? So it's all about time. There's no Department of Justice without timestamps. This is something that I've learned through all of this. And if timestamps are tampered with, like what Bill Hicks did, this is what he's alleged to have done: is tamper with his timestamp, and that's why he's illegitimate. And even if he didn't tamper with the timestamp, he's still illegitimate because he didn't get his paperwork, his form in of what do you call it? Anti-bribery form in before he took the oath of office. And we know that he was representing Purchase Funeral Homes, and so he absolutely has to recuse himself from the Walmart case because he has conflicts of interest. He knows the secrets behind Purchase Funeral Homes, and he knows information about the victims that were handled by Purchase Funeral Homes. They are a witness in this case, and so but of course, Judge Madrano doesn't even have any scheduling for the case. He's letting all of the victims suffer. We're reaching 5 years, and he's just letting them suffer. He hasn't even issued a mental health evaluation for Patrick Crusius. How hard is that to do? And why doesn't he want to do it? Because Patrick Crusius has, a mental health condition, a severe mental health condition. And we got it from intelligence that he's autistic. And so, if all this comes out and everyone knows that it is, just impossible for him to do the things that they say he did, and that Ernest Christopher Grant is lying, and Donna Sifford, who is CBP that runs a whole entry point into the United States, if they're lying, and then the media is lying, and then what Glendon Oakley Jr. said is true, that there were M4s there, military M4s, in the hands of people dressed in black that he said looked like mall cops. And those M4s are military weapons. And then intelligence is telling us that there are brown tip bullets, which are unregistered, which are high speed bullets, very powerful bullets that can pierce armor type of bullets. And they are made for M4s, for those short barrel urban warfare rifles. And this is, so all the information coming up, it didn't say, oh, these are brown tip bullets and they only work with AK-47s or 16s or whatever all that stuff is. I'm not that great with weapons. But I know this, that those bullets are not really compatible with those. Those bullets are compatible with M4s, what Glendon Oakley Jr. said he saw. And absolutely that there were shots in all over the place there, including the mall, including the parking lot, and that. Don't forget that Memo Garcia was killed in the parking lot, in the front of Walmart, because he had a table out there that he was raising funds, I think for soccer or something like that. So he was killed outside of the Walmart. And if that was the case, where are the shells from that picture where they have, that they leaked out this one picture? Where are all the other ones, right? Or a couple pictures of Patrick Crusius to form this narrative. But where are the shells in the background in the parking lot? Because clearly they're not there. They're not there. And you would see the shells if he had just killed Memo Garcia as he had entered in. But nothing, see, the timestamps don't work. The timestamps don't work. The evidence doesn't work, which are timestamps. This evidence is here at this time. This evidence is here at this time. This happened at this time. When did this happen? Um, how did that happen at what time? Right? Everything is with timestamps. And the timestamps do not tell the story that Ernest Christopher Grant with Donna Sifford, with some law enforcement agents, with even now the deceased police chief wanted us to believe. And could they all be in on this? And I can tell you right now, yes, because we have FBI supervisory agent Jesus Eddie Nieto Jr. not doing his job, that he looks very dirty, and his wife is working on Fort Bliss in intelligence, right? And that there are conflicts of interest with uh, uh, Marlon Soto Hernandez, right, with them. And there's conflicts of interest with Bradford Bugado, right, and his family. And he, of course, has a father-in-law, Nadal Baim, that's the FBI agent that said that the FBI was looking for Richard in Juarez, Mexico, and that he's dead, right? That he's dead. Now, Nadal Baim, the FBI agent that said he's FBI, that walks in the Dollar General, he doesn't have a conflict of interest with some other person that's not even involved in this case. No, he has a conflict of interest with the FBI supervisory agent that's not doing his job. He has this connection with the FBI supervisory agent that's more than just a professional relationship. And so, of course he would know. He would know because of his Lieutenant Colonel Bradford Bugado's son-in-law, and he would know because of Jesus Eddie Nieto Jr., and he would also know because of Cynthia Hernandez working in the intelligence there on Fort Bliss. So, could this be this big? Could this happen? And I want to say right now, with everything that we know, and our big board here, absolutely, the law enforcement agency, and we have not just me saying it, we have multiple news sources and multiple witnesses, including the DES, Thomas Kane. The DES saying that JAG has a problem, that Fort Bliss is unsecure, that it's just really bad, and that Richard was just a good meal for the coyotes. And this is the DES. This is Thomas Kane, Director of Emergency Services, the chief of all the security on Fort Bliss. A huge, right? And of course, we have DHS, Jaime Corona, liaisoning for the Department of State in Mexico, that's saying absolutely don't look for Richard because he's not to look for. So this is information, intelligence that we have received, and I'm putting it out there. If you've heard something different, if you are that person and you want the record straightened, please give us a call, because this is what the intelligence is telling us. And of course, we have the PAO for Sean Bernabe that in the newspaper, and so please, if the media is wrong, because the media could be wrong, tell us the PAO made a statement that they were looking for Richard's remains in Mexico and also there on Fort Bliss. And they were looking for remains. That means Richard is dead. And why were they looking for remains in many different places? Because our intelligence says that Richard had been dismembered. And, how do you like that one? that's not very nice, right? That's not very nice. And that's why we really need to stay calm and cool and not get too emotional, because we need to get justice for Richard. We have to have that that power of light, the power of the word, to burst forth out of the prison, that prison, and that the saboteurs and the murderers are held accountable for what they've done. And because it's not just Richard, it's the victims of Walmart. It's allowing all of the hurt from the crimes that they do, this sex cult that is hurting so many children, the child pornography, and of course the arms trafficking, the arms smuggling. And when you're making that kind of money, then you have to launder the money, and you launder the money through LLCs. And don't forget that Leilani Hart was getting her mail at Dreams Cabaret. Okay. And then you have things going on at 3705 Bliss Avenue, 3905 Bliss Avenue. You also have a real question right now. It's really shocking, but it's the El Paso Community Foundation that owns El Paso Matters. And they seem to have gone astray. They seem to be up to no good and gone astray. And so, that's being checked to see. So there's so much going on behind the scenes with our investigation. And we know for sure that Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, with her children, and she was divorced from her husband victim that died at the Walmart for what I think over 20 years. I don't know, a long time. She was not eligible as a victim, but that was forced in, and I think she was given with her children $210,000. And we heard that the baby that was left without any parents, that both parents were murdered in the Walmart, received nothing. Now, I think that all the people that were giving the El Paso Community Foundation charity money that was going, into a bank somewhere, um, and that baby didn't get anything, is very troubling, very troubling for all the people that were giving donations to that cause. So um, there is there is a real just more and more investigative work to do, and more uncovering to do, and it will reveal absolutely the what happened in the Walmart case. And when that happens, it will reveal what happened in Richard's case. And it will also, I believe, give justice to Glendon Oakley Jr. I believe that also. So, and I maybe for Asia Graham, and I know that Asia Graham, the rapist, had a trial and everything, but I think that there's more to it, from what I know, from what I heard, and maybe she will get more justice too in all of this, and our sons and daughters that volunteer to serve in the military will be able to actually defend the Constitution, and of SOPs being followed, standard operating procedures, because standard operating procedures, and I'm going to dig them up this week, I really think so, for the barracks were not being followed. The barracks were not a place that the soldiers want to live. They feared for their lives. They were flush with weapons. There was all kinds of bullying going on. Girls were brought in during COVID. And I'm sure it wasn't like, okay, everyone stay 6 feet apart. No, all of that. And just to say, and this is really important for the veterans, and especially the active duty military, um, to bring in the girls. And Thomas Kane had to give them their passes, okay? To bring in the girls, and we have all kinds of proof on this, to party during COVID, and then um, throw out soldiers that did not want to get their Cobra strike is, you know, can you believe it? And I think that this case, and I will be glad to testify in anybody's case of a soldier that got thrown out because they didn't want to get the Cobra strike. Yet on Fort Bliss, they didn't care at all to bring in the girls, the girls for parties in the barracks. And a lot of those girls, you know, a lot of them, what we have been told, are mules. So they're bringing in the fentanyl, they're bringing in the other drugs, the, you know, other things, the alcohol and whatever. And we were told over and over and over again how they take alcohol seriously, underage drinking seriously. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, I know. That's why you have these young soldiers defecting to Russia and saying, when I was on Fort Bliss for 2 years, I stayed drunk. I stayed drunk because you take underage drinking so seriously. So it was really, they insulted our intelligence. But more than that, they committed crimes against us and they violated our rights. And of course, more than that, they committed crimes against Richard and violated Richard's rights. So, you know, we are moving forward to expose it, to work behind the scenes, and ask you every day when we come on live to share this information, to share it so that, you know, Sean Bernabe, the 3-star general that needs to be stripped from his uniform, and those 3 stars need to be stripped from him, and he needs to go to prison. Or you know, the I think that injection, that lethal injection, needs to be on the table when they do the trial for him, because how many soldiers has he hurt? Has he hurt? It's so bad, y'all. It is so bad. And now my mind just got diverted from what I want to say, because when I think of Sean Bernabe and what he's a saboteur, he's with the murderers, and you know, he's not just anybody. He's a 3-star general. He's a 3-star general, and he has an obligation to care for our soldiers and to defend the Constitution. And he has committed the worst crimes. The worst crimes. And we've entrusted him with our nation. We've entrusted him with our most valuable assets, our soldiers. And he absolutely has betrayed us in the worst type, in the worst way. In the worst way. Didn't even see if I was on. Let's see if I'm on, because then people can help me make sure that I finish my thoughts and my... Let's see. Go into Facebook now. I did add Glendon Oakley Jr. on there. He's such a beautiful man. Really beautiful man. I just can't even... His poor family. Okay. Go into Facebook now. Thank you. All right. So I just want to and say it again that when Christ burst forth out of the tomb, it was with power. It was with light. He's the Word. And that is what overcame the power of darkness and those that align with it. And the guards died. So that is some kind of power. And I know from my own faith that Jesus said, and I've given you power to become the sons of God. And so we move forth with the hope that exposing and using the law, using the legal system, and oh yes, now I know where I was going, that everybody watching. Sean Bernabe said that it was finding Vanessa Guillen. It was the people that moved them, that drove them to at least acknowledge what they had done to Vanessa Guillen. I don't think she totally has full justice. And the mother, watching the mother, she was like, no, at the wall, at the gate, they named a gate. And, she was saying, no, the murderer's in there. The murderer's in there, pointing to the big building. So she doesn't feel justified that her daughter's murder justice has prevailed. So with all of you driving by what? Your comments, your likes, your shares. Share. And thank you so much. The TikTok has reached 10,000 now. And that's pretty good on a shadow ban. That's pretty good. So absolutely, we need to drive them to do the right thing, because we don't have time enough to wait for noble people, good people, to become generals. We're in the battle for justice, and so we have the law on our side, and we have regulations on our side, and we have the light on our side, and of course we have God on our side. And so, if God is for us, we don't have anything to worry about, right? Who can be against us if God is for us? And so we move forward with that, in that assurance. And so thank you so much. And I just want to say, Alleluia, Christ is risen. Christ is risen indeed. Alleluia. And have a blessed Easter. And I will be back tomorrow night, God willing. Bye-bye.